Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2015 Mercedes GLK, and today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. As you can see, it's already installed in this car and it's paired to our iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly. You're able to control the system with these original controls in the middle. You will not lose any functionality from your original car system. You can easily switch back to it by pressing and holding the back button. As you can see here, everything looks as it was before. If you put your car into reverse, this image will go away and you're able to see your original rear view camera. There's nothing that will get disabled, and now we're going to show you how to install it in this particular car. So the tools that you're going to need is a T20 Torx. This is our hook tool, and this is our panel removal tool, and of course you're going to need our kit. So using our hook tool, first thing we're going to do is remove this ring around the key because it holds this panel, which we also have to remove. So basically with their hook tool, you have to rotate it counterclockwise. It has these threads which you have to undo. As you can see, it comes out and you see there's threads on the inside. So now on the passenger side, with using our panel removal tool, we have to remove this side of the dash. So you just get underneath and it unclips, and it has two hooks here. Then we're going to use our T20 and we have to remove this bolt right here. When you're putting it back, make sure this is the short one here. The rest of the bolts in this car will be long. We're also going to be dropping the glove box in order to hide the module behind it, so might as well we will remove this bolt right here. So from underneath, we're using our same T20. Now with your fingers, and again this panel removal tool, we're going to start unclipping this dash piece. And now we'll continue on the inside. So we already unclipped it from here, so you're going to just work your way down towards the driver. And then the back here, there's one connection that you have to unclip. Press off this clip, and now we can put this panel away. Now using our T20 again, we will remove these three bolts. Going to be slightly lowering the glove box in order to hide the module. And we will unlock the glove box, and over here, there's one more bolt. Again, with using our T20, just comes off. So now we will remove the actual head unit, and in order to do that, there's two bolts. So there's one right there and one on the other side, and again it's T20, and you don't have to undo them fully because they're inside the locks, so you have to loosen them about 90% and then they will just stay in the locks. So like that. Okay, and that's enough. Next, we have to remove this panel around the HVAC control. So we'll use our hook tool to get underneath to unclip it. Once it's unclipped, you can use your fingers. And here at the bottom, there's another two bolts. They're also T20, but you're gonna see that they're way different. They're long and thick. So make sure to put them back in the correct position. Now you can grab this panel and just put it to the side. And we're doing that in order because we're going to be hiding our quad lock connector right here. And plus, in order to push the radio out, you can reach your hand in and get the radio out. Over here on the side, I suggest to disconnect this cable. So here you're going to see what I was talking about. These are the locks and the bolts are still in them. And same on the other side. And when you're going to be putting the radio back, you got to make sure that the locks are all the way in and unlocked. So then when you're pushing the radio back, that will lock the radio back in place. Something to keep in mind. Now we will rest the radio over here on the center console. You can use some sort of rag in order for it not to scratch anything. Now we'll show you what comes in the kit. You have your main module, which we're gonna hide above the glove box. You have your video cables, which get connected to the back of the stereo and into the module. This is our main harness. Then you have your USB cable. We're gonna hide the USB over here by the passenger's knee. And then you have your wireless antenna. So we'll start at the back of the stereo. We'll first disconnect this main quad lock. So you're gonna press the clip. It will come off, so the clip is right here. And then there's also this gray connection. This is where we're gonna plug in our video cable. So there's a clip on the bottom, which I press, and I use this tool in order to carefully take it out. So this is our video cable. So on one side it has male and female, and then on the other it has just one single male. So this will plug into the actual module behind the glove box, but these two we can connect to the back of the stereo. So the original one just plugs in into the female, and then the male goes instead of the original connection that we just removed. There you go. Now we'll also connect the quad lock. So the female side will plug in the original into it. And as you can see here, it's empty. So this one doesn't have the fiber optic option, but you might have this orange cable or blue cable, which you have to undo the clip here and then transfer to our harness. But this car doesn't have it. So we will unlock our lock. And this is important that you insert it straight and all the way in almost, and then you lock it in place. There you go. So these two cables we actually have to feed behind the dashboard and above the glove box. So we already showed you how to loosen all the bolts. Now you can just open the door in order to lower the glove box, and this gives you enough space in order to feed the wires through. So I'll show you how. So we'll take our video cable. See, now we have it coming out above the glove box. Now we will do the same with this harness cable. This is the one that has to go above the glove box. So now we'll take our module and plug in these three wires. So first we'll plug in the video cable. Then this is a part of the power harness. And for this car, this is a GLK 2015. So over here you have the dip switches, but just make sure that switch number 5 is on. So next we will also run this USB cable. So our goal is to have it just peeking out right here. So this is a method so you don't need to drill any holes, but you can choose to drill a hole into the actual glove box in the back somewhere. And you can also run into the glove box. So we're gonna do it here on the side of the dash. So we're gonna start, there's an opening right here. And now I just cut it on the inside, and you can also just feed it behind the dashboard there in order to connect to the module. Here you go, and there's a connection marked USB. And the last thing that you have to connect to the module is this Wi-Fi antenna. So this is for wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and it can be just left by the module. Don't really need to mount it anywhere. At this point, we will start putting back the glove box. So you see this metal piece right there? You gotta make sure that the module is not underneath it, otherwise the glove box will not lock and not go back in place. But you can just leave it like that for now, because we first have to test everything before we screw the glove box back in. So with everything connected to the module, we can now start putting back the stereo. And over here, this is the quad lock, the original one that gets plugged in into our side, and it's in the way if you just leave it here. So what we're gonna do is there's this plastic piece between the radio and the HVAC control, and we will squeeze this quad lock underneath it so it will not be in the way when we're putting the stereo back. As you can see, the quad lock is right here, and there's still enough space for all the wires for the HVAC to go back in. And now you can put the stereo back. First, don't forget to connect this wire on the side of the stereo. It just clips in. Here you will also unlock both locks, and now slowly and carefully put the stereo back in. Now we can also put the HVAC control back. Now we're going to show you how to activate the auxiliary in this particular car. So as you can see here, we just turn on the ignition and we're going to enter the engineering mode. We're going to press the hang up button, number 1 and pound, all three together. You're going to see, you're going to get this engineering mode where you're going to activate the auxiliary. So you will go to section number 7. And you will go then to 7.5, and you're going to check here if what you have set. Some of these cars will have most on and some will have the most off. So if it's off, that's good. You can just go to section 7.7, and over here for audio auxiliary you can just turn it on. If you go to 7.5 and your most is on, it will not let you to turn on the auxiliary. So you first have to turn it off, then go back to 7.7 and turn it on. But this car was set up like this from factory, so it depends. It's 50-50 chance, but in both ways you're still going to be able to activate the auxiliary. So once you activate the auxiliary, you will exit and then go down and go end the session, and then you're going to shut the car off for 5 minutes and lock it on the alarm. So that way the setting will set, and now you will have an extra setting for auxiliary, and that's going to be used in order to play sound from Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So now we're back in the car again, and for audio source we're going to choose auxiliary here. And now for testing, you can connect to this USB connection with your lightning cable, and then you're going to press and hold the back button here in the middle, and you're going to have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, depends which phone you connect to it. So the two things that you got to check is that the controls are working, and they are. And then you also have to check the sound. Okay, sound is working, that's great. So it means everything was installed correctly. Now we can just shut off the car and continue with the rest of the installation of putting everything back how it was. So first we're going to screw back in these locks using our T20. Then we will push in our HVAC control here, so it sits all the way in. And then we have 2 bolts that we have to put back. If you remember, these are the 2 big ones right here. Now we can reinstall back this cover. It just clips on. Next, make sure that you don't lose this cable. Over here in the glove box, we will start with putting these 3 top bolts back. Now there's 1 more bolt here inside the glove box. Now we'll make this connection here, starting from the driver's side, work your way down. And now we're gonna reinstall back the bolts over here. So if you remember, I told you that there's this 1 short bolt. This one goes right here. And then you end up with 1 last long one, and it goes into here. And now we can reinstall this cover. So first you insert the hook on top and the bottom, and then you're able to clip it back in. So now the last part is to screw back in this ring around the key. That's it, it's all the way in. So as you can see, everything has been assembled now, and now you have Apple CarPlay, and if you pair your Android phone, you will have Android Auto. We paired our iPhone wirelessly. You can control the system through your original controls, and now you can enjoy Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in your Mercedes GLK. I hope you liked the video, and we'll see you next time.